class action lawsuit over PlayStation Store
Exclusivity, hombre diablo.
what he just said. All this and much more, guys, on this episode of the Miami Geeks. Stay tuned. Yo, yo, yo! What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Miami Geeks Weekly Updates, brought to you by DigitalCrackNetwork.com. I'm your host, Pressure305, and with me, as always, old school gaming specialist, Uncle Willie.
Do I have to say this? Like usual, it's Friday. Happy hour's coming up. Let's go.
Well, okay, so let's get started. This episode is brought to you by D2D. Use promo code MIAGeeks10 to save 10% on your next purchase order. That's MIAGEEKS10. All in caps, description down below. Click on the link, put the shopping cart, all the things, get 10%. Plus, go onto the site, and there's an additional percentage off on there already. And you'll get something like this with a good juice, which I'm drinking right now, which it's fruit punch. It tastes like Hawaiian punch. If you're like old as I am or old as Willie, you remember Hawaiian punch? That was an amazing drink, and I love it.
Well, you gotta bring up my age.
I didn't bring up no number.
I mean, you did.
No. And guys, anyways, and as always, please make sure to hit like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification button just to know when we come up with amazing news, which is 3 times a week. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and always a little something in between. And now, let's get started.
You okay there?
Yeah, I'm hyped as shit. That's what I am.
I see that. Someone has had their coffee.
Well, I'm actually drinking D2D, so I'm a little, I'm all in there right now.
See, I get it. I see.
Do you see? I see.
Anyway.
We all see what I see. Yeah? No?
Remember High C?
Oh, hell yeah. Ecto Cooler.
Oh, well, I mean, there was that. See, now we're talking about old school drinks. Hawaiian Punch, High C, throw in Sunny Delight.
Everybody looks Sunny D.
I guess.
But, Willie, we have to cut this part because we need to talk. And what we need to talk about is Sony's facing a class action lawsuit over the PlayStation Store price monopoly. This is actually pretty big news. I have not heard something like this in a good while. It looks like a consumer-led lawsuit exclusive. The S.H.I.E.L.D. own, maintain the S.I. Is that what I said?
You said S.E.I.
Sometimes I twist words, guys. It happens. So yeah, that's happening, and maintaining a monopoly over priced digital games. Willie, let's talk about this because this is not cool, and I'm not sure what the hell's going on.
Okay. There are actually 2 class action lawsuits. Let's bring them up together. There's a consumer-led one against Sony Interactive Entertainment, S.I.E.,
Okay.
alleging that they hold a monopoly over digital games sold on PlayStation.
Okay.
There is a separate lawsuit that's actually being brought about by a developer claiming that Valve has its own monopoly. Valve as in the owners of Steam.
Yeah.
So let's take them one at a time.
Go ahead.
The consumer-led one for Sony is alleging that people who want to buy games digitally only have one place they can buy them from. Sony.
Mm-hmm.
And as Sony controls the price on digital games, and oftentimes they are not competitive because they have no one to compete against. Now that one is interesting because think about this. How many times have you gone onto the PlayStation Store to buy a game and seen that the game is being sold at or higher than retail price, depending on what version you get?
Yeah.
When you can go
plenty of times.
to Walmart, when you can go to Walmart and GameStop and buy it for up to 3 times less.
Yeah, it is true. Absolutely true. You're right.
And it takes on extra meaning because about 2 years ago, Sony stopped the practice of selling digital codes for their games in physical storefronts. So you couldn't go to GameStop to buy a digital code to buy a game. You had to go through the PlayStation Store if you wanted it digitally. Now, the 2 sides to this. One,
Okay.
it's Sony's console. It's their store. You want to buy digitally, you buy at their price. The other side of it is Yeah, but you're not giving me any alternatives. That's become increasingly important.
When you mean alternatives, what do you mean? Like
there's
maybe
no third party.
Oh, okay.
There's no third party digital store that'll sell you PlayStation games.
I see. Okay.
Like if I'm gonna use the PC as an example, okay, you have Steam. Steam is the biggest, but you find third party sites that'll sell you digital codes for Steam games, and maybe the price is a little bit lower.
Okay.
I mean, you have really shady ones like G2A.
I was gonna say that because I know G2A has that whole get a whole online game.
G2A is infamous for being a place where people who steal credit cards can go buy a bunch of Steam games with a stolen credit card and then dump the games on G2A for money.
Shady as shit.
But there are some that are, I would say, more legitimate. There's still gray market because you're not getting them officially from Steam, but they are Steam codes that work. And yeah, you in other words, there's a third party avenue for you to buy some Steam games. Sony, you want a digital game on a PlayStation, you're going to a PlayStation store. I think this has gotten new visibility because of the whole CMOS bombing of the PS4 and PS5, which if you remember is the whole thing that if the CMOS battery dies on either the PS4 or the PS5, your digital games are gone.
Yeah.
But it just so happens that physical games are gone too. Whereas on the PS3, the CMOS battery dies, yeah, you can't play digital games anymore, but you can play your physical games. Not on the PS4 and PS5. Meaning that Sony is your gateway to whatever games. And if they decide to cut things off, you're screwed because they're the ones running it.
Okay.
That one's pretty heavy.
It is. But if that's going on, and we have a lot of smart people out here, especially our viewers, they're trying to look for a good price for a certain game. There's sometimes those moments that you're like, you know what, I can't wait, and you just have to buy the game right there in the PlayStation store. I mean, I've had my moments of those, like I'm like, fuck, I want to buy this game cheap, but I have to wait, or I want to wait, let's say. And you know what? And then it comes to that point, you're like, man, it's not going to get any cheaper now. Let me just buy it. And yeah, of course, 2 weeks along the line, you might get a special deal that game came out cheaper or whatever the case is. But I don't know how a lawsuit to PlayStation, how would that work into their benefit if, you're the one that's buying it. You're the one that's putting the money into it. Yeah, PlayStation could charge you an arm and a leg or whatever they want, but that's their system. That's their games. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to defend them, but I understand.
I'll give you an example.
Go ahead.
And I threw this one straight off the top of my head because it was the first game I thought of, because I saw this once before. Mm-hmm. Diablo 3 Eternal Collection.
Yeah.
You can go to GameStop right now, buy the game new, not pre-owned, new, $40.
That's not a bad price.
Well, if you go on the PlayStation Store, and I'm looking at it right now, Diablo 3 Eternal Collection digital, $60.
Yeah, that's horseshit. But
and the example that you gave is for new games. New games, no matter where you go, it's going to be the same price.
Yeah.
Because it's a launch game, $60 or $70 depending on what console you buy it for. But games, after a while, will drop in price.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be able to go and buy it, for cheaper if you go physical. You don't have a digital equivalent. You have to wait till Sony decides to run a sale on a title that you want to play. So
how about,
if you had... I'm sorry?
No, go ahead. Finish that part.
No. So if you had your eyes set on playing, let's say, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered, you might be able to find it cheaper physically. The game's been out for a couple of months. But digitally, it's going to have the same retail price that it did at launch until Sony decides to put a sale on it.
Okay.
So the class action lawsuits is basically saying Sony has a monopoly and that's messed up.
I see. And how does this also work with Valve?
That's a different one, and it's from the developer side instead of the consumer side.
All right.
Okay, this one is started by a developer called Wolfire Games. They made a game called Overgrowth that was published on Steam, and they're saying that Valve is using the market dominance of Steam as a cudgel to bash developers on the head. They're saying that they spoke to Valve because they wanted to see about publishing on Epic Games. Famously, Epic Games gives developers a higher cut of sales than Steam does. Steam has a 70-30 split where Valve gets 30% and the developer gets 70%.
Of course.
Epic Games gives the developer 88% and they keep 12%.
All right.
According to Wolfire Games, when they told Steam about their interest in going to another platform to sell their games, they were told by Valve, okay, you go to another platform, we're delisting you.
Oof. Oof. Heavy. That's heavy.
So, I mean, that's a lot more heavy-handed because it's actively going against developers that want to test the free market and go to other platforms. Imagine right now if you go and say, oh, no, yeah, my Impala, I want to go and sell it. And then Chevy goes and says, oh, you can sell it, but we'll disable it.
Shit.
These are both interesting for different reasons. Sony's supposed to have a monopoly on their platform because it's their platform. So why would they want to have someone else on there selling games? But the whole purpose of free enterprise is, listen, I want to buy it from you, but this guy's selling it for cheaper. What can you do?
Yeah. No, I'm telling you, it's a pretty sticky situation for both parties at least.
Like, what do you think about this?
I don't know. I personally think, it's pretty hard on both occasions because the fact that if you're selling a certain game for a certain price, but people can give it to you cheaper elsewhere, yeah, people are going to be bashing the shit out of you because you're like, dude, you're selling a game that is not that expensive elsewhere, and I can get it right now. But then there's that other side that people are like, they don't really care and they'll just buy it just because they want it. And I will say that more to the younger group. They don't really see it. They're like, oh fuck it, I want to get that Grand Theft Auto anyways. It's fucking, I need it. Versus, older guys and gals and whatever that they'll just look at it and they'll be like, you know what, I could actually wait. I'm not gonna spend this much money. Wait a minute, you're gonna tell me that not G2A, but any other site they have this game code for cheaper than what they have on the PlayStation or Valve site? Yeah, fuck it. I'll buy from there and put the code into my system and get it, play it off like that. I mean, I guess in the end, it's just tough. Like I don't even know how to defend them. To be honest, let's just put it that way. There's no way of defending them in this type of situation.
Truthfully, there's no defense.
There isn't
either side
at all. There's none.
On Sony's side, they're basically saying, well, what are you going to do? You literally cannot go anywhere else to get your game. From Valve's side, they're saying, well, if you're not going to publish with us, then, we're the biggest one. We just make sure that all our members won't buy from you.
Yeah. You know what?
That's mafia shit.
Yeah, definitely. But you know what, dude? I'm going to leave this question up for our viewers. Guys, with these two heavy hitters, Sony and Valve and all that stuff, and everything we're talking about right now, what do you guys think about this situation? Please comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. We will love to have a conversation with you about this and more. So please comment down below. You know the drill. So Willie, besides the whole thing with Valve and PlayStation, we have to talk about something that's near and dear to your heart, and it's WoW. Yeah,
this is a me thing.
Yeah, this is going to be a you thing. So it looks like the Burning Crusade is launching way sooner than expected, with an unfortunate character cloning fees. What's going on there? I'm not a big WoW guy or ever played it, but I do get around it every once in a while with you. But what's going on here with this whole thing about character cloning fee?
Okay, so I'm gonna guide you through this.
Good.
World of Warcraft is a subscription-based MMORPG. You know that.
Yeah, of course.
All right, you pay $15 a month, and you get to play the game. Along with it is a thing called WoW Classic. For years, World of Warcraft players, there was a huge group of players that were like, yeah, we don't like the way WoW is now. We like how it was before. And after tons of pressure, Blizzard finally decided, you know what? We're going to go and do a thing called WoW Classic for you, which will be the original game as you sort of kind of remember it. We're going to recreate the original experience for you, so you can go and bash your heads in that. So for the same $15 you paid for the right to play the newest game, if you had the latest expansion, and the classic game, where you played as it was when it first started.
Okay.
Well, eventually they were going to go and start adding expansions to the mix, because, you know, there's some people who remember the original feeling of, oh, I maxed out my character in Classic, but here's this new expansion, so let me start bashing my head on that one.
Yeah.
Burning Crusade was the first expansion that WoW had back in the day. And so WoW Classic inevitably was going to do that. But they're doing this in a way where people who still want to play WoW Classic can play WoW Classic, and the ones that do want to expand can play on servers dedicated to just Burning Crusade. Now you have to pay for the character that you maxed out in WoW Classic to move him to Burning Crusade.
Okay.
Doing this on a game that you basically didn't have to pay extra for.
So then why? So then what's the whole big deal about paying extra for that? Why?
You have
what are they
to,
trying?
you,
what are they
you,
trying to accomplish? That's what I want to get to.
In order for you to clone your character and migrate him to the Burning Crusade servers, so he or she can continue from there. Okay. You have to pay them $35.
No, that sounds no. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of dedicated hardcore players out there for WoW, but to pay $35 for something like this, I don't feel that this is going to be a good thing or a good idea.
This is just the latest thing. The whole purpose of WoW Classic was to keep WoW the way it was back in the days, without all the new conveniences that are out. And moving to Burning Crusade, you would think that only have the things that happened during Burning Crusade and not anything extra. But they're adding extra shit. You if you buy a deluxe edition, you can actually spend more money, $70, to get a deluxe edition of the game, where you get a mount that never existed in the game, and they boost you to level 58. That's got people up in arms, and they are doing this a lot sooner than expected. People were thinking that there was going to be time for them to, like basically put it in alpha and beta, so people can go and like basically test it out to make sure their servers don't crash.
Yeah.
But no, June 1st, we're going to do it right now.
Wow. So there's not even a test for this. This is just balls in and go.
There isn't going to be much testing. There's not going to be an easing in. It's just like now. And many people are thinking that because regular WoW has a bit of a content drought because the Shadowlands expansion hasn't had its first major update yet. They've only had a minor update. They're thinking, oh, they're doing this because, they probably have an investors call coming up soon, and they want to show them that, oh, look how many people went and jumped in on Burning Crusade, and look how many of them paid to do it. Either way, like, I can't share in their criticism, because I never jumped back into WoW Classic. I stayed on the mainline game, and I don't see myself going to Classic anytime soon. But this is something that has people up in arms. There's a lot of people that are mad nowadays at video game companies.
No, absolutely. I highly understand. I was just kind of curious about this one, and I was kind of wondering because I was going to ask you, is this something that's worth the pay? Like, will you do this if you wanted to?
I can't speak for myself only, and for myself, I would not.
Okay.
Like I said, I don't play Classic. If I do decide to play Classic, I'm perfectly content with what's the latest expansion, Burning Crusade? All right. I'll start from Burning Crusade from level 1. When I started playing WoW, it was towards the end of Burning Crusade anyway. So for me, it would be the exact experience that I had when I started playing WoW.
Interesting. Okay. All right. That's actually a pretty interesting thing, man, to see that you'll do something like that. I personally thought that you were going to say, yeah, fuck it. I'll pay the amount to do this. But, seeing your point of view and stuff like that, I'm like, wow, I'm actually impressed at the fact that I was wrong.
Oh, no. I don't have extra money to be throwing at companies like that. No. Fuck them.
Well, I'll tell you this much. You do have extra money for certain things, though, which is going to be to help Nintendo Switch in their sales.
Time out. I already bought mine, and I bought it used.
Okay. All right. I'll give you that much. But people like me and maybe others out there pretty much helped out with this situation, especially last year and a little bit of this year, which Nintendo Switch sales went gangbusters in the pandemic year, meaning Nintendo sold almost 30 million Nintendo Switch consoles in the most recent fiscal year. Willie, that's a lot of money, and I was actually concerned because I remember we talked about this, about there were going to be a shortage. There was a shortage actually of the Nintendo Switch, and that people were going to have a hard time trying to get their hands on one. But it looks like they did right. They did okay.
Yes, they actually did. For those of you playing at home, they actually sold 28 million, 28.83 if you want to get technical, in this last fiscal year. And that's actually more than the 21 million they sold the previous year. And for those of you scoring at home, they have now sold 84.59 million units worldwide. The sales have actually passed the Game Boy Advance lifetime sales.
Yep.
It is approaching the 101.63 million units that the Wii sold. That's a lot of money.
I'm telling you, this Nintendo Switch, I mean, some people are bashing Nintendo, but I'm gonna tell you something. I don't see nothing wrong with all of this, man. They're making something happen. So they're making something happen. They're making the money.
And then just to show you just how strong the Switch platform is. Okay, their number one selling game is still Mario Kart 8.
Love it. I fucking love it.
Would you like to know how many copies it sold?
Please go ahead.
You ready for this?
Yes.
35.39 millions.
God damn.
It's still one of their top selling games, despite it coming out practically when the Switch came out.
That was a good while already.
And the number 2, Animal Crossing New Horizons.
I can see that.
A game that came out towards the tail end of last year, and has since sold. Actually, no, it came out in March.
Last year. It came out last year.
2020. So it's a year old.
Yeah.
And it has sold 32.63 millions.
Dude, I'm telling you right now. I know a lot of people like to bash Nintendo and whatnot, but the money speaks. Fact speaks.
Now,
go.
I want to bring up 2 things.
Go.
1, anyone who says that PS5 launch, blah, blah, blah. Yes, the PS5 launch was incredibly successful.
Very.
Keep in mind, with every month since the PS5 came out, the Switch has outsold it.
Yeah. I'm telling you right now, dude.
Number two,
Yeah.
one of the things that Nintendo said here is that, yeah, we've been doing great, but things are going to get rough now.
Just
Remember,
about.
there's a silicon shortage, which means there's a semiconductor shortage, which means that Nintendo consoles are going to be in short supply soon. Again, remember how we were talking about how you want an HD Switch to come out?
I was gonna bring that up right now. Yes.
It's already HD, but a Super HD. You want a 4K Switch?
Yeah, 4K pretty much. Yeah.
Well, how do you think that's going to work out when they're at a point now where pretty soon it's going to be difficult for them to even ship regular Switches?
No, that's where I'm gonna see what happens. I mean, this year supposedly it should be getting better. You know, I already mentioned it. I think our previous podcast already that yes, there are already help out there, you know, to give you the whole injections and stuff like that and whatnot to help you with this human malware, and things are kind of moving along back almost to normal, not fully, but almost. And I think sometime around this year, almost the end, I think we're going to be seeing a big change. But again, that's me being optimistic about it and praying that it does happen.
You're always very optimistic.
Very.
I will say this. The biggest semiconductor manufacturers, which are TSMC and Samsung, are still not up to full speed. The plant in Texas has been ramping up, but it's still not 100%. There are still going to be shortages. And mind you, the shortages are going to affect consoles and games pretty heavily, because if TSMC has to sit there and decide right now, all right, do I want to help Nintendo make another Switch? Do I want to help Sony make another PS5? Do I want to help AMD make another GPU? Or do I want to help Apple sell 100 million phones? Guess who wins?
Yeah.
It's still going to be rough, folks. And although Nintendo may want to bring out a Switch Pro or whatever the hell they're going to call it,
yeah,
they're going to have trouble selling the actual console. Forget about the Pro console because of the shortage.
Yeah. Well, the only thing we could do right now, because again, they talked about it that it's going to be releasing in the holiday season. So from here to the holidays, let's see what happens. I mean, we can't predict the future of what's going to be happening now with these systems. All we can do right now is just sit here, look at what's coming up, and advise you guys. For you guys to be more aware of what's going on and know what to do in the future. So, I mean, just don't take our word for it. We're just here to help.
Hey,
what?
I wish you all the best. I'm sitting here looking at PS3 games.
Well, while you're looking at the PS3 games, Willie, let's talk about the future of Yakuza games. And they're going to be pretty much sticking to the turn-by-turn battles.
Turn-based, yes.
Yeah. So, what's going on here? I mean, I know that earlier today, they came out with another Yakuza series game, Judgment, I think it's called.
Well, no.
I forgot.
It starts with the game that released not too long ago.
Okay.
Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Yes.
For those who don't know, Yakuza games have been fast-paced combat games. And Like a Dragon decided to go turn-based.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that game was so well that Sega's taking it as, okay, turn-based still has a place. So all mainline Yakuza games are going to be turn-based from now on. There's been a whole back and forth for years about turn-based versus real-time combat in especially in RPGs. If you remember, for years, Final Fantasy was turn-based.
Yeah.
And they slowly but surely started convincing themselves that nobody likes turn-based games anymore. Everybody wants real-time.
Yeah.
And so we have now Final Fantasy VII Remake, which has gone full active time, real time fighting. And mind you, the system works very well in Final Fantasy VII, but something needs to be said for turn-based. There's nothing wrong with turn-based.
But it's not everyone's cup of tea, though.
I'm an RPG fan.
Yeah, that's what I was
saying.
I'm
always going to. Yeah. I'm always going to say that. I harken back to playing Baldur's Gate, where you play. It's point and click, and it's mostly real time. But you can hit the space bar and pause it, and sit there and plan out your strategy. I don't have a problem with it. So for people who do have a problem with it, they're gonna go and they're gonna have to switch off to the spin-off series Judgment, which is real time. Either way, I can say that the Yakuza series has something for everybody, except for the people who miss Kamiya Kiryu, I guess. Kazuma Kiryu. Jesus Christ, Willie.
You're learning too much from me, Willie. I don't like this.
No, I actually pronounced all the names right. That's a benefit on my part.
I hear you. But still, like, I was just trying to tell you really quick only, like, being that you're an RPG, fanatic, that you love these type of games, and I can only watch it, but I can't play with it because I'll lose interest very quick in it. So then I just kind of like, I just stop. I'm like, oh, that's it. I don't want to play no more because it kind of loses interest in it.
There's a place for
it. But then again, that's just me and other people out there. Even maybe our fans out there, they probably like certain games. I got RPG'd or not, but as it's to whoever it benefits them.
The only thing I'd say is, yeah, maybe more people prefer action based and real time, but there's still a big fan base that likes turn based. Don't turn your back on them just because you want to satisfy the others.
All right. But Willie, now we need to speak about movies. And the thing is I want to talk about is, did you see the Quiet Place 2 trailer?
Oh, hell yeah.
Dude, I saw enough to be like, okay, this is going to be a prequel of what happened in the beginning from what it looked like. And
actually both.
So it's like what? So this is considered a prequel to a part 2?
There's part of it which shows how everything began.
Okay.
If you remember, A Quiet Place left you in media res, meaning that it left you in the middle of everything. After whatever creatures they took over had already taken over.
Yeah.
And followed one family trying to survive. This one seems to be showing you what happened before.
Of course.
When the attack started and picking up afterwards.
Okay, so if we're going to be picking up afterwards, then for sure, John died. John Krasinski.
John Krasinski's character is no longer with us.
Okay.
That's the prequel part. When you see him, that's prequel stuff.
Okay. That's all I want to make sure. Because I saw him die. It hurt the shit out of me because I was like, oh, God, no. But my thing was like, please don't tell me he's going to come back and be like, no, the guy missed me. He went here and not to the jugular, because of that.
So what you're saying is that he'll stand up and say, "'Tis but a scratch."
Yeah, that's all we need. He becomes the Black Knight in this freaking movie. But all serious aside, very good movie. I think this is going to be another hitter because it's a really good movie. I like the way when John directs these type of movies with his wife. Amazing. Like, the first movie was actually interesting to a point where it had me to the edge of the seat wanting to see what happens next. I'm not one to even do that, to be honest. But go ahead.
Now, one thing we have to bring up is, you see the part where he's going to the store and sees the space shuttle.
Oh my God. I saw it. And in my head, I was like, ugh. It kills me, dude. It kills me knowing that.
When you've seen the previous movie and then you see what happened beforehand, and you see the things that caused the other things, it's like, what if he would have not moved? What if he wouldn't have gotten it?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the big what ifs, it always hits you when you see things like that, because damn, dude, like honest to God, what if he didn't get that fucking rocket?
Yeah.
What if he didn't put the batteries in? What if, again, it's a what if moment.
And
But,
the other thing to bring up is this movie only in theaters for 45 days.
Oof. Okay.
Paramount Plus is only going to put it up 45 days later.
All right. That sounds okay.
So if you want to see this movie,
2 months in the
you have
theater.
to go to theaters.
2 months.
Okay.
All right. Okay. That sounds interesting. But Willie.
Yeah.
Well, since we're talking about movies, dude, Dave Bautista gets honest about the future of Drax in the MCU. And it kind of hurts me a little bit because, they had an interview with Dave Bautista and they talked about, like what's going to happen with the future of Drax in the MCU and everything on there, dude. And technically he was just pretty much talking about him, that they were going to have a Drax and Mantis spinoff, which I would have liked to watch it. I mean, it's not something in that category that I really want to watch it. Like I have to see it, but I would have watched it. Those two characters in the movie were funny as shit, and I loved it. But it looks like they had a lot of talk about it. James Gunn was all into it because he's the one that brought it up. He's like, look, I want to make a spinoff for you both in the MCU. They announced it. They talked about it, blah, 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 blah. Everything happened. But the studio pretty much said, yeah, we'll leave this right here. We'll put this right here on the side, put a pin on it, and we may get back to it as soon as possible. Which it kind of led, Dave Bautista here to pretty much say, I guess the Guardians is going to be the last movie you're going to see as Drax anyways. Being that they said also that Guardians 3 is the last movie that James Gunn is going to do for the Guardians. That's it. Like, after part 3, that's it. There's no more Guardians. But that's just, what they say. We never know. Willie, what are your thoughts about this, dude? About the fact that they might just, just say, fuck it, that's it. After Guardians 3, no more Dave Bautista, no more Mantis. Well, let me correct myself. Just no more Guardians Galaxy movie. They just did not say nothing about the main characters within the movies, what they're going to be doing. Go.
Few things. First, keep in mind the original plan was to only have 3 movies with the Guardians as they are currently set up.
Yes.
And then they were going to explore the original Guardians.
Mm-hmm.
Remember Sylvester Stallone and Charlie 27 and Britney Spears voicing another one and all that?
Yeah, I remember.
The focus was going to switch to them.
So kind of like take the mantle for them.
No. Like looking at basically a prequel.
Oh, okay.
Now, also remember that these plans happened before the whole controversy that led to Disney initially firing James Gunn.
Yeah.
Which everything's fine, he's back and he's wonderful and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But these plans were going on before.
Yeah.
Now, yes, Dave Bautista is only under contract for Guardians 3, and then there's nothing else. There's nothing saying that Kevin Feige will not pick up the Drax and Mantis idea, depending on how Guardians 3 does, and turning it into a Disney Plus show. Remember those the plans were all before the whole James Gunn thing.
Okay.
And things have changed. Well, we have to see is what I'm trying to say.
I see. I mean, again, just because James Gunn is not going to be doing these movies does not mean the future of Dave Bautista and everybody else in this movie are gone. They might show up in any other movie. Like there's talks about they're gonna have Howard the Duck show up somewhere in these movies. I want to see what happens.
He popped up in the first movie.
He did, and also
and
there we go. You said it. And so the future of these characters, these actors, they're not really certain because all we have to see is what happens next. That's all I can tell you right now, guys. So I pretty much think that Dave Bautista is still going to be around for Drax, as as long as they're going to keep him around for any space adventures they're going to be having. Even with Thor, he's with them right now, so you never know what's going to happen within that timeline.
As Guardians of the Galaxy.
Exactly. So we have that. Also, I didn't even know this was out there, and it was a first look at Obi-Wan Kenobi's photo set, and they're in Tatooine, which I thought they canceled this plan, Willie. I thought they canceled this whole thing. I thought they said they were not going to do no Obi-Wan or nothing.
No, they said they had announced not too long ago that they were going to do an Obi-Wan series. The last it wasn't an investor call, or that whole video they did showing off the things that are coming.
Mm-hmm.
Kathleen Kennedy had shown that Obi-Wan is going to be a thing.
Dope. That's going to be cool. So if Obi-Wan's coming out, then we're going to get some sort of Anakin. No. Anakin, no Anakin.
This is supposed to be the things that happened after Episode 3.
Oh, I see.
So it's going to be Ewan McGregor still playing as Obi-Wan, but basically him in Tatooine and watching over Luke.
Oh, okay. I could dig that. I'm all right with that.
And with the shenanigans that they pulled, the very wonderful shenanigans they pulled,
of course,
the season ending of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Luke. Yeah. Sounds cool.
I'm digging it. I'm okay. You know what? Bring it on. I was kind of not digging it at first, but I could watch this shit. After what I saw with The Mandalorian season 2 and everything, yeah, I'm all in. I could watch it.
Bring it. Bring on the fan service. I'm good. I am good.
Now, what's going on, Willie, with Disney Plus erasing the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter from the MCU canon?
This is just Kevin Feige.
I thought, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I thought Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter was pretty much within the timeline of everything that's been going on with the MCU. Which, if I'm not mistaken, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. also references a lot of the things that happened before the like during the whole movie incident, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
So how are they going to cut that off the MCU if it's part of it?
Well, a lot of Disney Plus markets move shows like that.
Yeah.
Mind you, they include. So they got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter, Fantastic Four, The Runaways, and the X-Men films, and put them in a segment called Marvel Legacy Movies and Series. Basically saying, yeah, they existed, but they ain't that important.
I mean, it's fucked up.
This is Kevin Feige. This is Kevin Feige sitting atop his throne in Marvel Studios, looking down on everybody else and saying, "I'm gonna cut some shit out now. I'm gonna settle some shit." Oh, he literally did. If you remember, Kevin Feige had a falling out with Marvel Studios brass at the time run by Ike Perlmutter because he wanted to do things outside of their influence.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know this, but Avengers 2 was almost the final Marvel movie as we know them. Because after Avengers 2, Age of Ultron, the main actors, meaning Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, Mark Ruffalo, oh my God, I forgot his name, Jeremy Renner,
yeah,
and Chris Hemsworth, all pretty much revolted, saying, listen, either you put up everybody's pay or we're done. Because Ike Perlmutter was a cheap-ass bastard.
Walked on elbows, technically.
Yes. And Kevin Feige convinced Disney brass, listen, let me take care of Marvel Studios. I'll take care of these people. They cut out the rest of Marvel, from Marvel Studios,
I'm telling you
including
right now.
Marvel Television, who was run by a different person, Jeff Loeb, who was still loyal to Ike Perlmutter. So there was a back and forth battle between Marvel Studios and the MCU and Marvel Television. You notice that when the first season of the Marvel Netflix show started, they were referencing what happened when an MCU shows more.
Yeah.
Same thing with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. As a matter of fact, an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode led to the beginning of Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Over time, they stopped doing that. And they
started
doing
just
their
kinda
own thing.
They kind of like shun away from it.
Right? Because they didn't want to associate with the MCU because that was run by Kevin Feige. And Kevin Feige was an asshole. Well, Kevin Feige made Disney billions of dollars. And they basically told him, all right, you run Marvel now. And so now it's all his, including TV.
Yeah. You know what?
He cut all the shows, all the Netflix shows, all the Hulu shows, all the Freeform, that was the name of the channel, the Freeform shows, and basically said, I run shit now. So unfortunately, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter, which was criminally underused, Agent Carter.
It was.
And it's not just because Haley Atwell was beautiful. It's just that, it was a good show. But she is beautiful.
Yeah.
Those shows are now reduced to, that didn't really happen. It did, but it didn't. But you're just misremembering things.
I mean, as bad as it sounds, I think I'll trust in Kevin. See what what's his plans and what he's going to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
I trust in him. I mean, so far he has not led us wrong. And he's been doing pretty good with all these shows that we have now, plus the movies. So, and Kevin, I trust.
Yes.
Yeah. But guys, I have to say this right now. Thank you very much for joining us today on this amazing podcast. And I'm very grateful to have you guys here. And Wooly is pretty much excited because it's Friday and we're going to be leaving soon.
I got to drink.
Yeah.
I got to drink.
So, guys, we're going to be ending this right now with this segment is brought to you by D2D. Use promo code MIA Geeks 10 to save 10% on your next purchase order. That's MIAGEEKS 10. All in caps. Description below. And please, make sure to hit like, comment, subscribe. Hit that notification button just to know when comes with amazing news, which is 3 times a week. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and a little something in between. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you on Monday. Peace!
Ah!